Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Abilene People. We are here again with one of Abilene's most interesting people. Let me tell you a little bit about him before we get right to the podcast. Jason Hernandez is a fitness professional, entrepreneur, community leader. He's here in Abilene, of course, known by so many as ZumbaJason. He spent over 20 years helping people improve their health through fitness, dancing, coaching. I do not dance, and I'm not really a very fit person, so I hope we have a good conversation without him scolding me. Currently, he serves as a senior group fitness coordinator at Crunch Fitness in Abilene. He helps oversee programs from multiple Crunch locations all over the place. Now, beyond fitness, he works in a variety of other ways. We'll get into all of that. But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, ZumbaJason, how are you, man?
I'm well, thank you. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Yeah, man. Good to see you.
Yes.
So, tell us who you are. I've told us a little bit about what you do. But Who are you? Where are you from?
I'm from Anson, Texas.
Anson.
So no dancing in Anson.
No dancing. And is that true? There's Anson lights. Is that
So there's Anson lights out there. You still have that. And then, of course, just growing up there, I've been there, born and raised. So my entire family's still there.
Okay, now what's the name of that great fried food place that I see when I go in and out of Anson? So I'm going in, it's on my right.
Oh, Hey to Ho.
Yeah, hey,
Yes.
you never eat there. You're a healthy guy.
No, I eat there.
I like it. All right, so from Anson, what's life like in Anson?
So my parents are still there. They actually run the water treatment plant, so both my parents are there. And then, of course, I have three older brothers. One of my older brothers is now just the interim city manager in Anson, so congratulations to my brother, Eddie. And so he's
big time.
Big time, yeah.
He's doing all kind of stuff.
And then I have a middle brother. He actually works here in Abilene. He works in auto paint sales, and so he's in the sales industry as well. And then I have a twin brother. So
what do you do?
Yeah, his
Identical
name.
Or
we're fraternal. His name's Mason. Growing up, we instead of going by our first names, the teachers always called us by our middle name, Mason and Jason. And so he works out there in Anson. He actually has a gym as well. He opened a gym a couple of years ago there, and so he's doing really well for himself as well. All my brothers are. So.
All right, so when you see a guy with a body shape like mine at my age and disposition, do you want to scold me? Do you want to say, dude, you could benefit so much from coming to my fitness stuff?
I think anybody can. It's just walking into the gym. That's the first part. Everyone has known me here in this town as being a dance choreographer, going into Zumba. I started that platform almost. I've been licensed for 18 years now on that. But I've been in Abilene for 20. So I grew up, of course, in Anson, came to McMurry University, finished my degree there. My degree is actually in communication, public relations, my emphasis, and a minor in religion.
Okay.
So,
all right, in religion too.
Yes.
So you can talk to people, you can argue with people, you can coach people, you can do it all.
I try. I try just to help individuals and all that they do. So,
all right, I made a little crib note here, and I want to go through some of the stuff you've done in the community. All right. And you're still a young guy, and you were in Abilene's top 20 under 40 a few years ago.
Yes, sir, yes.
You were in Leadership Abilene. You're a graduate of that program. You are a volunteer for Habitat for Humanity, American Cancer Society. You do stuff for Anson, a youth soccer deal. You're a volunteer for Alliance for Women and Children, Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, and I didn't even list it all. How in the world do you have time? And what's your motivation to get so involved in the community?
I think when people reach out to me, it's a matter of just wanting to help people. At the end of the day, for me, it's just making people feel good about themselves and using my talents for what I can offer here in the city. And so a lot of it is volunteering. I just enjoy doing that. I've been doing that ever since I was young. Even in high school, I was a really busy person. I was overly involved. I was student council, president of student council, band. I did a lot of things in high school. And I think that just kind of carried over into being a busy person in college and going into my adult career.
If you weren't Mr. Anson High School, you probably could have been Mr. Anson High School.
Well, I had to choose between two categories, so I chose to be, student body president. They wanted me to be class president, but I had the option. I had to choose one. So
okay. So you're so heavily involved. Back in my day, we would call it a Rolodex. Now it's our phone contact list. You got to have a very robust phone contact list.
Well, it's connected to a lot of my social profiles, and so if you go to my Facebook or Instagram, everything's just kind of connected together. It's from my dance fitness to my insurance business to all of those bookings that I have. So.
Okay, so I don't know you well. I know of you more than know you, but you have this vibe of positivity and energy. Mm-hmm. And I got to tell you, total transparency, about 5 years ago, I totally withdrew from Facebook. I said so long to the 5,000 friends and all those connections,
Limit.
I just said, nope, not going to do that anymore. And the reason was because of all of the diatribe negativity that I saw on there. Was that a me problem, or does everybody go through that? And how do you deal with it?
You know, I think a lot of people do go through that. For me, I love negativity, where I try to convert that into something more positive and looking for that. Like, what is somebody needing help with? You know, if they're going through something negative, it's because it stems for something that they're probably dealing with. So I like to find the positive outlook on that. And that's just who I've been my entire life. You know, somebody will come to me with a problem, and I either want to fix it or find the positivity in what they can turn that into.
So I want to talk a little bit about ZumbaJason, because that's kind of not just a nickname. It's really kind of a brand, and you do a lot under the umbrella of that brand. Before we get to all that you do under that brand, what is ZumbaJason, and how did that name come about?
So I started about, gosh, you know, I've been licensed for 18 years. I just graduated college, and I was working in the ER at Hendrick Medical Center my first year out of college, and I wasn't happy with what I was doing.
The ER.
Yeah, I was just basically a glorified waiting room attendant there, like just talking to.
You saw all kind of stuff.
I did, yes, I did.
You saw people at some really tough times.
Yes, really tough times. I think that's kind of helped transition me into the life insurance business, dealing with clients and loss. And so just kind of making people feel good and comfortable with the transition in their life.
But you left that and got into fitness? Or?
I did. So I actually took a class at Gold's Gym at the time from a lady named Carmelita. I went into her dance class. I was wanting to lose a little bit of weight and get into shape. And she said, after class, came up to me like, "Hey, you're great. Would you like to be an instructor?" And I never thought about that. Wow. So that's kind of where that started.
Carmelita, her name sounds like it's like some fantastic song, you know?
Yeah.
you know this song, Carmelita.
Yeah, I mean, and she taught like the like more of the Latin base, and so that's kind of what made me excited about attending that class. So
yeah. So you got, is Zumba is it a specific style or a specific line or a specific way of exercising?
Right. So Zumba is basically any type of Latin bass music, and we choreograph 2 or 3 dance moves to those songs. We make it very simple, basic, and fun. So when people come to class, you don't have to be a professional dancer. It's like, hey, instead of a salsa, if you don't want to do salsa, let's make it more into fitness and do a squat instead. So I like to do different actions for people there.
All right, serious question. I hope you take it seriously and don't laugh. But, you know, I'm a 63-year-old guy. I used to be a lot overweight, but thanks to GLP-1s and walking regularly, I'm just now a little overweight. I'd like to think that at least. But I got bad joints, and, you know, I'm just not the healthiest guy in the world. Could I walk into your seniors class at Crunch Fitness and learn and jump right in? Or would you like make sure the defibrillator paddles are close by?
No, I always tell people, like, if you have never worked out or you want to get started, Zumba is probably the most basic dance fitness program you can get into. It's not very intimidating once you step into a class. Everybody's there just to have fun. And, you know, like I said, if you don't want to do a jumping jack, do a side step. So I do all kinds of modifications for all clients. I have a 73-year-old in my class. And
I was going to ask you, what's the age range?
So age can go, I have a 12-year-old that's been coming to class all the way to almost 80 years old. So it's a very mixed crowd of people. And at the same time, there's no judgment. You walk in and we're just having a good time.
I love that. And how many classes do you do a week, or is it by day or an evening?
So I teach other formats, not just Zumba. So I teach cycle and some other formats in the HIIT zone. But I myself teach 16 classes a week. It's a lot.
What?
Yeah. On top of my job and work.
Now, I'm thinking of the Crunch location here on South 14th near the TV station. Is that where you are?
So that's where I'm primarily here in Abilene, yes. So when I'm here in Abilene and not having to visit the other locations, then I'm here in Abilene, and that's where I'm teaching at. So.
And so ZumbaJason evolved from that, from your commitment to being a part of that world and fitness and coaching people, right?
Correct. Well, you know, I had my own dance studio in the mall for about 6 years. And so when I started, I opened that dance studio called Studio Z right there next to JCPenney. And then, of course, the library came in and utilized that space. And so when I closed my dance studio, I was kind of looking for something in the area and took about a break for about a year, just kind of teaching from small gyms, teaching out in Anson at the high school gym. And then that kind of, when Crunch came up, I went there and applied, and I received the position there.
Cool. So forgive me for not realizing your dance studio was where in the mall the library currently is.
Correct. Yeah, next to JCPenney's. So
yeah. All right. Wow. So, and that was how many years ago?
So I did that from 2011 to almost 2016. So.
All right. All right. And so what do you tell people? I want to get into some of the other stuff you do because you have a really, I mentioned an umbrella of the ZumbaJason brand, but it's a big umbrella. You do
It
a lot
is,
of
you know, and
things.
I think that's what a lot of people know me as since I've been that for so many years. But there's so much more that I do besides just Zumba. But I think that's what stuck with people. You know, when I'm going to knock on a client's door for insurance, you know, the kids are like, "Hey, mom, that Zumba guy is here," and I'm like, "Hey, I'm your insurance agent. You know, right now I'm not the Zumba guy, but
And you do sell insurance, you do 401k rollovers, you
correct,
do all that
yes.
kind of stuff.
Yes.
So really, my sense is that your vibe is positivity and life coaching in a way, you know, that you care for people and you want to help them make sure that they're okay physically and that they're okay financially. Is that fair?
That's fair. Yes, you're right. Especially when it comes to people who like, hey, I want to start up a small business, and like, where do I start? Well, it starts with just motivation. It starts with what do you want to do and how to do it. You got to get up and do it, not expect people to come to you or your clients or customers. So it does take some branding, but that's the part is I get excited with is helping people to market and brand themselves.
Now, I've heard you say or read where you've said that a lot of what you do is just about confidence and opportunity.
Yes.
And is that mostly fitness, or is that life insurance and financial planning, or business startups? What is the confidence and opportunity, and how do you connect people with their potential?
Yeah, I say it's in all of those right there. So for me, wake up in the morning, it's like I have a lot of things on my plate. Where do I start? I'm a very write things down in my calendar. I do use my iPad to stay organized, but I think it's just choosing that mindset. You know, I haven't had a great life growing up, but I use that as to motivate myself, you know, and to be better.
You know, it's funny you say that, and that's a poor choice of words. There's nothing funny about it. But when you say I haven't had a great life growing up, just listening to you, I would have assumed very different because, I mean, you talked about your twin brother who does paint sales here in Abilene, all paint
Yes.
sales. You talked about your brother who's the interim city manager.
Right.
You talked about your folks doing the water treatment plant. You're from Anson. Expound on the not great life and how do you encourage people who might say similarly about theirs?
I think for that it's just a matter of like when I come out of that, it's I say not a great life growing up, but it was a struggle. So I think the struggle part comes from like I want to
lower
work
middle
harder.
class or how
Probably below middle class. So this is a point where my parents bought a house for $7,000 and it took them a while to pay it off. You know, growing up, you know, we had some hard times there, but mom and dad never made it feel like it was a hard time. You know, like something simple as you want to go to McDonald's, but okay, well, we'll go to McDonald's, but mom and dad need to go give plasma first in order for us to eat. So I say my parents always pushed us to be hard workers. You know, like, hey, if you want to stay involved in school, get an education, great. If not, you need to get a job.
Now, from my chair, there's a lot of people in Abilene, maybe in a lot of places around our nation these days, who are in that exact spot. They gotta, you know, go to the plasma donation place to make ends meet. Do you, just from your chair, do you see a lot of that in Abilene? Do you see people struggling to make ends meet in this time, in this day and age?
Oh, most definitely. I know right now with Abilene growing, it's a little hard for people, especially when it comes to finding a way to pay rent or just to find something to eat, you know? And so I think for me, it's always staying ahead. So I've always been that person that says, you know, I'm using my job to pay my bills, but anything beyond that, my side business, my side gig, if it's a booking, that money's to either put aside or to use for some fun things I want to do, but it's always to either try to stay ahead.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting, isn't it, that here Abilene's experiencing this boom that's so positive in that people are coming to town. I'm sure you've met a lot of them because they want to come to Crunch Fitness or what after their shift or before their shift. They're working out at the data centers. Now it's not just one, it's multiple. And north of Anson, more are going to come that way. And all the nuclear stuff that's being built up in Haskell County and in Abilene. There's just so much growth right now, but that doesn't always translate into immediate benefit, financial benefit for the people that have been here a while. In fact, it can present challenges for rent's going up for so many people.
You know, and I think just having a network of people and people you know you can probably reach out to is where I like to come in. Like I've already, I guess you can say I've assisted a realtor in some some houses that she's been selling. I've had a friend that had a rental property and found a client for her to put into that house. So it's just a matter of finding the right people and networking, because there's people who are not actually going above what the market is, and they still want to keep true to who they are. And, hey, they can make a lot of money, but they also want to be like, hey, we want to help people too and keep the price where it needs to be.
Yeah, boy, that's a good word. And I hope that people are listening to that and adhere to that, because now's not the time to take advantage. Now's the time to take consideration, help people,
Correct.
Figure out what we can do to build
And
community.
you think about it, like when we had Snowmageddon a couple of years ago, everyone had a lot of trouble going through. We opened up our gym facility for people who didn't have running water, or they need a shower, or they just need one place to go. I think it's the same thing that's happening right now, is like we still need to help people without trying to obviously reap the benefits of making more money. Yes, you could do both, but we need to help people.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I think that's a part of your ethos, your vibe, your personality, helping people, building positivity, building community. How do you build community and authenticity and relationships? Is that one reason why you have a diverse set of things that you do and that business interests that you're in? You mentioned kids would say, "Hey, Mom, the Zumba guy's here."
Yeah.
You go, well, yeah, I'm your life insurance guy too.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess just talk to us a little bit about authenticity, community, and building relationships.
I think for me, like for who I am, it's always finding a way to help people and to save them money. For me, it's like, okay, I went into the insurance business to help people. I've seen people who've lost people in their family, but then they're having to fundraise or find a way to financially take care of that. And, for me, when I go into the insurance business, I really don't want to break people's bank. So I want to find what works for them. What is your budget? How can we set a budget to where you can maybe spend $30 to $50, $60 a month, but if something does happen, some people just don't have 16, 18 grand laying around to put somebody in the ground. And so I think for me, it's just finding a way to utilize that business and helping people as well with what I currently do already.
Yeah. What do you say to people who have procrastinated getting life insurance and they're reaching that point where then they think, well, it's too late? Is there a plan for them?
So there is a plan. There's people, I can obviously somebody who's probably 50 and up, if they have any type of pre-existing condition, they've had a heart attack, they have diabetes, whatever it is that will actually not allow them to get any insurance before that. We have a graded benefit plan for those who are 50 and up. So
even those folks should call you.
Even those folks should call me. Yeah. If they can't find anywhere to get coverage, well, I do have a plan that will work for you. It's going to be a little costly, but it's something that you can put into your budget instead of leaving your loved ones with the burden of trying to find a way to put you into the ground, as far as coming up with that money if they haven't left you anything.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to shift gears a little bit and just have a little fun.
Okay.
Not that we haven't already had fun, but what I mean is just, not really silliness, because I think sometimes these things reveal a lot about us. And so if somebody handed you an all expense paid trip anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Wow, that's a great question. I mean, I have traveled, but it's like for me, it would probably just honestly, I would take my family to Disneyland again, and my mom and dad.
It's the best, huh?
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
when you go to Disney, do you go to Disneyland in California or you go to Disney World in Florida?
In Florida, Disney World. So,
yeah, no, fair enough.
Yeah.
Because we made a decision for lots of different reasons. We took our kids to Disneyland in Anaheim and Los Angeles.
Oh, yes.
And we love Disneyland. I and my wife both have been to Disney World, but we never took our kids there. It's kind of funny. Of course, they're adults now. They're probably your age.
Well, and I've been, and I think it's more fun to take your kids when they're a little bit older. So then, you have your young ones. They probably, they're walking around, they get tired. So I think it's better if they're a little bit older too, teenagers and up. They'll enjoy that a lot better, I believe.
Yeah.
And I got 12 nephews and nieces, so it's,
oh, wow.
So I would enjoy just having them being a little bit older so they can also take care of themselves when you go.
Yeah, right. And you don't have to lug them around.
Right.
Yeah. I remember those days when we took our kids to Disney. They were the first time pretty young, and my daughter was scared to death of all the characters.
Oh, yeah.
And we had Mickey Mouse sneak up behind her in her stroller, and it absolutely terrified her. It was the funniest thing in a way, but kind of sad too. And I think she still has PTSD from that. I'm not sure she's a big Mickey fan. But you're right. When they're older, that's the time to do it. And the great thing about Disney, again, there you are, a fitness guy. You may not appreciate this so much, but it's the food, man.
Oh, yeah.
The Mickey Mouse.
Don't get me wrong. I love food too, so it's okay.
Yeah. Well, I love how you said that back when you met, was it Carmelita?
Carmelita, yes.
You know, you said, I want to go to lose a little weight.
Yeah.
So you've experienced that.
I have, yeah. So, I mean, it's up and down,
I mean,
you know.
not that I know that, but I mean, you disclosed that. You wanted to lose a little
correct.
weight. Yeah. Well, trust me, the up and down business I've known my whole life. Yeah. So we got there, all expense paid trip. You'd go to Disney. I love it. Great choice. All right. So if you could have any kind of food regularly, free of charge, you just walk into the restaurant and there you put down the freebie card. I'm not asking you to disclose what restaurant necessarily, but what kind of food. Now I'll throw some starters out for you. Tacos and Mexican, chicken fried steak and Western.
I'm simple. I already know. So
let's hear it.
I'm like, I would want a cheeseburger.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Bacon cheeseburger. And so I'm a burger person. Yeah.
Really? Yeah. That shocks
Most people are like, steak or, pizza. But for me, it would be like a good burger.
But you know what's funny? You say that. I know some people, and I got to give a shout out to Tom and Lisa Perini.
Yeah.
Wonderful people. I've met them, don't know them well, but I need to have them on the podcast. But I know some people that come all the way to Abilene from the Metroplex 2 or 3 times a year, and they go to Perini's, and you know what they always get? The burger.
They get the burger.
They get the burger every time. I'm thinking, really? You come all the way to Perini's? I said, we just love it. We love the ambiance. We love Buffalo Gap. We love Tom and Lisa. Yeah.
And you know what you like. If you're going in a good ambiance and stuff, you're going to know what's comfortable for you. I mean, you might try a steak or something, but if your comfort food is whatever your comfort food is, then that's what you go to. So.
Okay, so from Anson, were you ever into the hunting and the fishing life, or nah, did that never?
My dad...
By the way, I just want to say how stereotypical that is of me to assume somebody from Anson might be, but
right.
I think I'm probably not far off.
Well, my dad took us out fishing out the lake out there and stuff. So every now and then we would do that. But it wasn't something I grew up with wanting to do all the time. Dad would just take us out there and fish. And, it was good times when we were kids. So
Same. It's funny. Now my son's an attorney and lives in Hollywood.
Okay.
But when he was little, he had zero interest in athletics or anything like that. But we took him on a deep sea fishing trip one time, and I just assumed he would hate it. Oh my gosh, he was the star of the boat.
That's awesome.
Every time he would put a line in, he would pull a fish out. And the rest of us was like, what's going on here? It's crazy.
That's a fun fact. In high school, I did band, I did tennis, I track, never did football until my senior year.
What?
Yeah. Never played football until my senior year.
And you played?
And I played.
And you suited up?
And I suited up.
Did you get in games?
I was in the games a few times.
Wow,
and so
that's crazy.
It was just, it's my senior year. I'm like, I want to try every opportunity of anything that I...
Well, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'd recommend that same approach? You come on, get out there and put yourself into it.
Well, and it's not just football, but in anything that you haven't tried, if you want to, I think life's too short for us not to try everything. Everyone's like, why are you so busy? Why do you have so many jobs? So I'm like, well, I want to experience everything. I want to have fun. I want to enjoy making money here and there, or, I don't want to look back and say, man, I should have tried that.
That's great. That's great advice. I love that. So you would say try something.
Yeah.
But just not the exotic food. Stick with cheeseburgers.
Yeah. I mean, every now and then my spouse and I will travel, and, we've been to Mexico and tried some things. And so, yeah, I enjoy it.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, my kids were just in Mexico, and my son went from my daughter flew back from Mexico City. My son went from there to Puerto Vallarta. And then the day after he flew home from Puerto Vallarta is when all of the cartel madness happened that was going on. And one of his buddies from Hollywood stayed in Puerto Vallarta and was there when it happened. And anyway, I was so thankful my son wasn't there. But people have these stereotypical ideas of Mexico, and it's really very safe.
It really is. When we went a couple of years ago, Mom and Dad were always, my parents do not like to travel. They enjoy what they do in Anson. And
all right, so traveling for them is from Anson to Abilene.
To Abilene, yeah.
I get it.
Abilene, yeah, they'll come to Abilene and they'll stay at the Elegante or something. That's like the excitement for them,
Well, that's pretty exciting.
I love my parents, yes. They're very simple, though. And, I say I'm very much like my parents. My parents, when I growing up, I saw them always helping people even when they needed stuff, like they would they'll get their last dollar out, and so my
Yeah.
parents were always willing to help a lot of people along the
Well,
way.
those are the kind of people you want in charge of your water treatment plant.
Yes.
Because those kind of infrastructure points are so critical in every city in America, particularly your small cities,
Yes.
And what's funny? I never hear of Anson having water problems. Now, Breckenridge, another story.
Yeah, and
Never heard about an
I'm
Anson.
40, and my dad's been there since I was probably about 1 or 2 years old. So my dad's been there a long time for the city, and so my mom's been working there with him too. She also works at their treatment plant. So
All right. Okay, so I asked this question of a lot of the guests, particularly those who love Abilene and are real involved. And I went through that list of all the things you've been involved in, from, top 20 under 40 to, all of the nonprofit volunteerism and Leadership Abilene. Thinking from your chair, Jason, what would you love to see in Abilene in the next 10 or 15 years?
ooh, that's a great question. For me, I'm a very simple person. I like to travel and get out of Abilene, but there's a lot of things in Abilene I do love. It's like when somebody moves to Abilene, I feel like I'm the one that wants to show them everything and fall in love and stay here, right? A lot of people are like, why are you still in Abilene? Or why aren't you in a bigger city? Well, if I was in a bigger city, I couldn't have all the opportunities I have now. I couldn't work 3 or 4 different jobs and businesses and do all that in a bigger city. Abilene, I love it because it's still small, but for anybody that wants to come to Abilene, it's just taking that opportunity and trying anything. If you want to start up business, great, do it, but you can still get on your feet if something doesn't work out for you.
Are you concerned about the growth of Abilene? Do you think Abilene has the risk of getting too big, or do you think that if the growth's managed well, we're okay? Or do you think, hell no, man, let's grow as fast and much as we can?
I'm a small city boy, so I like everything. Abilene is growing. It's just how can we all financially gain from it, without having to step on each other? How can we help each other with that growth? I think for the most part is, as if we do grow, obviously we are, is how do we help everyone else keep up with us, and not just businesses that are growing or individuals, but financially, like people are losing their housing right now. People are needing food. And I say that because I see it, and I see it with friends and people that need help. And for me, I'm like, hey, I might not have enough to pay your mortgage or something, but I can take you out to eat or something like that, So I really would like to not see Abilene grow very large, but we're already there. We're already there.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Last question. I promise. I keep thinking of additional questions.
No, go right ahead.
Last question. I promise. So if you had everything that we've discussed, your positivity vibe, the umbrella of your personal brand and all the work you do, that you see people, if you had one word of advice for city planners and city leaders, business leaders in Abilene, well, maybe not one word, but one sentence, one concept, what would you share with them?
Listen to your people, and I know that's very simple. It's a very simple concept, but it's like, just listen to what the community members are wanting. We have a lot of meetings, but are they really truly listening? And they're just moving on with where they think is best for Abilene, which that's hard because they might think what they think is best for Abilene might not be best for a smaller community people, that are barely getting by and making it. So
yeah, I love how you said that. And, the simple stuff is never the easy stuff, the simple stuff,
Communication, that's all it really is.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Oh, and that's easy.
Listening.
No. Simple. Listening is simple, but it's not easy. It takes dedication, intentionality, and work. Okay, Jason Zumba,
Yes.
Thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
Appreciate it.
Man. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
And I appreciate all that you're doing, all that you've done. Appreciate your vibe. Appreciate your ZumbaJason brand. And who knows? Maybe my wife and I will dust off those tennis shoes and show up at one of your
There's
classes.
no maybe. It's just you got to be there. You got to do it.
There we
Make a
go.
plan.
Spoken like a true coach. Okay, thank you for joining us here on Abilene People. I know that you agree with me. Quite an interesting guy. Originally from Anson, but an Abilenian at heart and an Abilenian indeed. Jason Hernandez is. I want to thank our producer, Travis Corrigan, for all that he's done over there at the switcherboard today. I want to thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Danny Sims. Thanks, and we will see you next time.